I am a nano engineer, an engineer who works on really, really tiny technology. We are developing nano diamonds, really small diamond particles, to help detect disease earlier. So I am an engineer by training, and now I am leading a company to do that work. I think when I was little, I watched a lot of Magic School Bus, and then there were these interesting episodes of things getting really tiny and the school bus going into the body and exploring things. So that got the ideas started. I feel that it's impactful, that it's important, that it will help benefit medicine, help benefit many people. And secondly, it's just very exciting and interesting. Those who never try always fail, and those who always try never fail. So try. Always try. You never really know where you're going to go, but you'll always learn something that's useful in that process. I'm a nano engineer, an engineer who works on really, really tiny technology. And what we are doing is we are developing nano diamonds, really small diamond particles, to help in medicine, to help detect disease earlier. So I am an engineer by training, and now I am leading a company to do that work. Nanotechnology is all the technology that is developed at the nanoscale, which is 10 to the negative ninth. And to get real perspective on that, what it means is if you take a single strand of hair and divide it by 100,000 times, that's the scale of technology that is being developed. And so it's very tiny, tiny technology. Diamonds are very, very tiny, tiny diamonds. They're diamond dust that just have some very interesting imaging properties, so we can detect them. They give off signals. So if you think about diamonds that are yellow and pink and different colors, those are all diamonds with elemental defects, or they have different color centers in them. The diamonds we work with have color centers that allow us to find their signal even when we inject them into the body. And the reason that I started working with them is it was kind of serendipitous. I was at a conference where I met a biophysicist, and he was having some problems in having a good agent to really image individual molecules of how enzymes are interacting with collagen and, these kinds of single molecule type works. And so we had heard about how nanodiamonds have really good imaging properties, but their challenge is how do you really connect them to the thing you're trying to image? How do you get them to be individual particles that you can do that chemistry with? And so I started working on it, and then I joined his lab and worked with a team of people there at the National Institutes of Health. And when we started publishing our results, we ended up having a lot of different folks show interest, both from the scientific community, but as well as from the business side. And we realized just how impactful this technology was and that we should try to get it out to as many people as is possible. And so I ended up leaving to then start the company and spin out this work to provide it to researchers and engineers and scientists everywhere. And then also for us to head towards the clinic to really detect cancer with them in the future. The nanodiamonds, what we've done is we've taken the particles and we've put a very thin coating around them that we then can easily do different chemistry with. So you can kind of think of it like putting Velcro on the surface. And by putting that on, we get them to stay separate from one another, but now we can put different attachments on the surface to then target whatever disease we'd like. And what we're really working towards right now are a lot of cancer targets. The way you can think of a nanodiamond is that it's essentially like a very, very tiny flashlight with infinite battery life. So the battery never runs out, so we can always detect its signal. And now it's just a question of what we want to shine that light on. What do we want to try to find? There's not a typical day. What is typical is I'll go into work to Berkeley, and I'll work with the team that we have there, but every day I'm kind of tackling different things. What gets me the most excited is talking about our technology, seeing what our new results are and what we're developing, and talking to people about what we are doing. That's definitely consistently there at some point throughout the day. But then we're also tackling things related to intellectual property, thinking through legal sides, thinking through markets, talking to patients. So there's a whole range of kinds of things that happen, but the consistent part is we're working towards this goal of improved diagnostics. I find most rewarding is, I think, two things. One is that I feel the work that we're doing is really going to help people. It's going to help move medicine forward. It's going to bring the next stage of what diagnostics and therapy will be, which is a lot of non-invasive treatment. So that these little tiny particles will deliver. So I feel very satisfied. It's very fulfilling to work on something that will help people. But the other aspect of it is that I also just find it exciting. It's really interesting to me. I find that I learn something new really every. When I decided to become a medical researcher, it's hard for me to particularly pinpoint to one thing. I think there have been a lot of different things along my path that have led me to that direction. I think when I was little, I watched a lot of Magic School Bus, and then there were these interesting episodes of things getting really tiny and the school bus going into the body and exploring things. So that got the ideas started. Later on, I think where it really started clicking in was when I went to college. The first semester at Georgia Tech, I was very lucky to get into a class which is a peer-based learning class. So what that means is basically they gave us a topic, and a team of 8 of us students coming straight out of high school with no real background about anything, it was our job to go and solve it and then present what we came up with. There was no guidance on how to do any of that. So they gave us problems like, how do you deal with the remains of mad cow diseased animals, which can very easily spread and cause contamination and other problems. So go figure it out. How do you do it? And other problems related to stem cells and different ideas. They were just really interesting problems, and I really liked how I could understand what I'd be learning and what I'd be doing would have a real world impact. It would really affect a lot of people. And just delving right into that right from the beginning, I think is where it started from. And then I did research when I was at Georgia Tech that was in nanotechnology. Then that led to me wanting to do my PhD in that area, and I've just stayed with it. I've always really liked it. Whenever I was starting my PhD, I had the opportunity to consider going to medical school as well. And so what I did is I went on this traveling medical clinic with my sister in the Himalayan mountains. And so we really went from village to village, diagnosing different things and treating the patients. It was super cool. It was a lot of fun. But what I realized in my time there is the part that I liked the most was actually coming up with the new medications and the new technology to help move things forward. I saw a lot of cool diseases, but I felt like we were just using the same treatments or the same medications for repetitively. And so that also further made me realize that actually my area of interest is in this development side of the technology. And that I decided to start Bikanta was that we realized that the nanodiamond imaging technology that we had developed just would be more powerful with more people using it. And so to have it available as a product for different researchers and scientists to use, as well as for us to really scale it to getting it into patients, it was like a no-brainer, like something we really should be doing. And the more people using it would be, the better. How he came up with the name is that Bikanta is a tribute to the different researchers who worked on the technology. And that girls should consider careers in science, engineering, and medical research is I feel that females have a certain sense of nurturing that comes out at some point. And in order to really build projects and to have long-term goals that are impactful in big ways, you have to have patience and the tenacity to really move and drive them forward. And I think that girls are good at doing that, and so they should. Nobel Prize that was won in chemistry in 2014, last year, was won for high-resolution optical imaging techniques. They brought imaging down to 20 nanometers with optical imaging. It was a huge improvement for the field, and they very deservingly won the Nobel Prize. Now, those groups are actually using nanodiamonds to also do imaging, and they're bringing resolution down even further, down to 8 nanometers and lower with the work that they're doing. So we're very excited about our technology and how it's moving the fields forward. subject, it is so broad, and you have to know so many different things. You have to constantly keep up to date and keep learning all these different things. So it's exciting, but it's also a lot of work.